Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, the original elf on the shelf, J.P. Shadrick.
Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, and it is Thursday, Week 15, and we've got a busy 2 hours ahead on two different programs. Starting on Happy Hour, it's analyst Jeff Lageman coming up. We'll get his thoughts, final thoughts on last week's win in Nashville, and the first thoughts looking ahead to the Dallas Cowboys this week. And yes, those are both meaningful December games. That was one of the goals for the organization. They are in that department right now, and certainly meaningful for both teams chasing division rivals down the stretch of the season. We'll hear from the head coach coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. Doug will step in, and we'll get his thoughts on the Cowboys-Jaguars matchup. And Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, will join us at around 5:15 or 5:20 or so. We'll get his thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys and the season so far for the Jaguars. Let's start with the head coach today, though, or actually yesterday. The quarterback playing well and the communication between the two growing as the season continues.
But I do feel like he is really, I guess, understanding kind of what we're trying to get done as an offense. And so if you think the same, that definitely helps. And really, you call a play, and it may not be the best play at the time, but you ask your quarterback to kind of bail you out, and he's been able to do that. And it's just the complimentary aspect of it.
Now to Trevor Lawrence, Jags quarterback yesterday. Of course, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week after his performance in Nashville a week ago. 3 touchdown passes, 1 running, and a career high in yardage. But it was the first and goal interception in London that shook something loose in the signal caller.
I think at that point, I'll never forget how I felt in that locker room after the game. You know, obviously it wasn't a good day for me, and I really just felt like, it felt like that a couple times, but none more than after that game. Really felt like I let the team down. You know, should have won that game. I think we had lost 4. That was our 5th one in a row. So I never forgot how I felt in that locker room. I don't want to feel like this anymore. You know, I'm gonna 1, start taking care of the ball, but 2, I just want to be the player that I know I can be. And I think that kind of flipped a switch in me. And honestly too, I think I have a little bit more of a chip on my shoulder now. Just because, last year and a half, I don't really forget what's been said and what people have written, and now, you see people change their mind after a couple weeks, and but I remember everything, and I don't use that necessarily as my only fuel, but definitely use that, and I think that's something this team's done. We kind of remember what people were saying when we lost 5 in a row, and then we've won some big games now, and people kind of change their mind quick. So we just have that same mentality. That we want to prove, how good we can be every week, and I think that's been the cool thing about this team.
That's the quarterback keeping receipts from about a month and a half ago, of course. And now to the defense. Outside linebacker Josh Allen picked up a fumble last week, one of 4 takeaways for the defense in Nashville. They certainly could use a few this week against the Cowboys.
That's what we pride ourselves on this defense, man, is to get the ball. But it's going to take all 11, and that was the core message to the defense, man. We all have to play all 11, especially this game. And this is another opportunity that we can have a game like this. The Cowboys are a really good team, front end and back end. So we all have to be locked in. Communication is going to be key. We all got to get to that ball. We got to stop the run, and then we got to rush the passer. So we're excited about this matchup. Again, this is another handle business. Then you get to where you need to get closer to where you need to be. So we know we're going to have a big challenge, and we're excited for it.
A few highlights from press conferences and locker room this week, and all the rest available on Jaguars.com and Jaguars social media from the locker room availabilities. Foye Oluokun spoke this week, caught up with a few other guys in the locker room. And you can catch those each and every week. Jeff Lageman joining us now here on set at the Jaguars Radio Network studios, getting ready for Week 15. The Dallas Cowboys coming into Jacksonville for the first time since 2006. The last home game for the Jags against the Cowboys was at Wembley in London. That one didn't go so well. So, hey, here they come. The Cowboys are 10-3. They're in second place in the NFC East. The Jaguars are, 5-8 and second place in the AFC South, both chasing the division leaders down the stretch. Meaningful December football indeed, Lars.
Yeah, their chase is a little bit better off than the Jaguars because they can clinch a playoff spot with a victory against the Jaguars here. I think this is going to be one of the most electric environments that we've seen here in a long time, maybe going all the way back to 2018, the New England Patriots game, and we thought the Jaguars team was going to be just as good in 2018 as they were in 2017. Didn't quite turn out that way, but was a great environment against the Patriots that day.
Sure was.
And this place is going to be packed. The last, I think, seats that are available are standing room only.
Yeah, they're selling those right now. So,
and you better get them quick if you want one because I can tell you there's not many left. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to be here early, planning on being here late, and I hope it's a fantastic football game that comes down to the end, tight, and the Jaguars find a way to get the victory.
Well, I mean,
Cowboys aren't unbeatable now.
No, they certainly are not.
They're good.
They're very good.
This is probably the second most well-rounded team that the Jaguars will face this year. And the Eagles are number one. I mean, the Eagles are just tremendous. Kansas City's good too. But, man, the Eagles are just built to the hilt and just they've added to what they had since the Jaguars faced them. And this football team here in Dallas is not perfect, but they're well-rounded. They've got good offense. They've got a good defense. But if they can find a way to sneak a few takeaways like they did in Tennessee, hold on.
We'll do a Dallas deep dive coming up in just a few minutes and get to both sides of the ball for the Dallas Cowboys. But the comments from the quarterback there, you just heard about that turning point from London. The first and goal interception into didn't even get in the end zone. At the goal line, it was intercepted.
He collected a receipt from me on that one, JP.
Well, I mean, he weren't the only one, I don't think. But, hey, there were a lot of people. There were actually calls after some of those games to sit him down from fans, post-game and all that. And I think that's probably what he's referring to. And analysts, I'm sure, nationally were kind of on him.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
No.
I'm aware.
JP,
yes.
you did, but I didn't.
Certainly did not say that. By the way, I was defending him in the postgame show.
I don't remember that.
Well, we'll roll the tape. Either way, the next month and
I'm going to tell Trevor
plus you can do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. So quarterback play though, he's turned it around. And here he is. And then last week throws for a career high.
Surgical.
He was. I think you said it during the game. He's owning the field in Nashville.
I just remember, me and my dad kind of check in after every game, and sometimes he sees the game, sometimes he's not able to see it. And he said, "Great win," and he didn't get a chance to see it, so I just texted him and I said, quarterback was amazing. He was in total command, total control. He was athletic. He was accurate. He was incredibly good. And what was most impressive to me was how he was in control of the offense as far as getting people lined up. There was a couple instances in that game where all of a sudden somebody started going the wrong way, and he recognized it immediately. And immediately starts to correct it, but it corrects it to the point where a lot of quarterbacks see it a little bit late, and then by the time they get everything squared away, the play clock is ticking down, and then they're kind of at risk of a delay of game. But he was just on it so quickly that it never became a factor the couple of times that it happened. And then how he reacted under pressure to where his eyes never drop, which is something that's, I think, truly a special gift. The accuracy, the command, the some of the balls that were incomplete were his best throws.
Yeah, right.
The one deep pass.
Oh, come on,
to Zay. I mean, he's running to his left and launches this ball for what was it, like 45 yards?
Yep.
Launches this ball, and then when you freeze frame it, and for those that are watching on social media, Zay's got his right arm pinned down a little bit from the defensive back. The ball hits him literally right perfectly in the left hand. Where I could not have walked up there with the ball and placed it any better. And this guy did it running to his left and launching a 50-yard ball. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
There's another one where he's, in the pocket, has to shift left and right, and there's guys in his face, and then he throws the back shoulder down the left side to Agnew.
Yeah, to Agnew.
Unbelievable.
Great and athletic. And you know what? You also have to give credit to the coaching staff. There were multiple plays that were designed really well. I go to the touchdown pass to Evan Ingram. We did that play with Jim Bob Cooter, the passing game coordinator this week, which will be on different broadcast channels, TV shows, social media, Jaguars.com. And I call that play the picket fence play, because you have Evan Ingram on the left side, and then you have 3 wide receivers on the right with Marvin, Zay, and Christian, and they're crossing the field, and all they're doing is essentially trying to create a traffic situation so that the guy who has man coverage on Evan Ingram, which is Kevin Byard, the safety, Pro Bowler, by the way, is trying to keep up with Evan, and Evan runs a shallow crosser. By the time he pops out on the other side of this picket fence, it's nothing but green. And that's just great play design, because the coaches design a play that they know what coverage they're probably going to get. They get exactly what they want. Evan Ingram walks into for the touchdown uncontested. And then the long play to Christian Kirk before halftime, 2-minute drill, big chunk play, great route design, great play design, because you're attacking a level on the left side, and Zay runs the corner off, and then Christian kind of fools the safety and then bends it back into that area that Zay cleared out, and it essentially created a 3-level zone, which it was supposed to, it's 2 levels on the defense, but because you ran off corner off, now you actually open up another zone that they can't cover, and because Christian fools the safety, and they make the outside shallow out guy bite up on a flare pass from Travis Etienne, you got a wide open Christian Kirk for a chunk play. And then there was another play, JP, not to be long-winded, it was a little tight end screen play, and Juwan Taylor picks off Kevin Byard. And Evan initially starts to block the outside edge rusher and then rides him, and then Kevin Byard thinks that he's staying in the block. So Byard starts to come like a blitzer, what we call a hug-up blitz. And when he starts to come, Juwan picks him off. And then Ingram lets the outside edge guy go, just turns, Trevor delivers him the ball, and it's like a 20-something yard gain on what was a pass from me to you. I mean, it's just so fun to watch an offense that has so many plays that are designed exactly for guys, and they work. I mean, we haven't seen that around here very often, and it's fun to watch. And when you have a quarterback executing at an extremely high level within that, it's you get what you got in Tennessee, and that was something that was special.
We've got plenty to discuss, obviously, about the Jags last week, and then moving ahead to the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to the defensive performance last week, and we'll see if the takeaways can carry over, and then we'll get deep into the Dallas Cowboys. 10-3 record. The America's team is coming to town, and that means the Jaguars are coming back home to host the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? This will soon be America's team, Logs, the Jaguars.
The one thing I will tell you, there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans here.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of Jaguar fans here too, and it's going to be an incredible environment. And I think the one thing that you got to, if you're playing and you've got a young team, you want to make sure that your team is not in awe of the star.
It's another team.
What it is. It's another team, but I'm just here to tell you now, you got to make sure that you prepare for that, because, I mean, I remember the first time that I played against the Dallas Cowboys. It's a little different.
PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com, and it's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Oh, sorry. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better, and welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Thursday, Week 15. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We'll hear from the head coach, Doug Pederson, coming up at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock. The Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. And Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, will join us in studio as well in the second hour this evening. So, Jaguars defense last week. Yeah, they're giving up some yardage, right? First half, here goes Derrick Henry. He's over 100. He had 98 yards or something, 96 in the first quarter. It's going to be one of those days today. And then, just before halftime, they're in Jags territory. It could be, an 8-point game maybe at halftime if they score a touchdown and Jags get the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
But then Shaq Quarterman, I'd be curious if Derrick Henry would even admit it. But it's got to be one of the hardest hits Derrick's ever taken in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, typically Derrick doesn't get hit that hard just because he makes guys miss and he makes subtle moves. But
that's right. And then that turned the whole thing because the Jags get the fumble, they drive the 2 minutes, take the lead, and never look back.
Well, part of the reason you can get a hit like that is when Derrick Henry is on the Jaguars sideline, he's trying to fight extra yards and he's spinning back to the inside. And when a running back takes his eyes off of everything and cuts back against the grain, that's when he can get walloped. And Shaq delivered a great hit. And the ball literally just falls right into the hands of Josh Allen. I mean, you couldn't have had the ball fall any better than that. And that was a nice play. And it was obviously the third takeaway the first half, and it gave you the lead. And then with that, it put Tennessee in a situation that they're not very good at, which is playing from behind. You knew going into the ball game that you wanted the Jaguars, at least we were talking about this, wanting the Jaguars to get out to an early lead because the Titans aren't accustomed to having to throw the ball. And they have Ryan Tannehill, who's had great success against the Jaguars. But this year's different. You have 2 tackles in Tennessee that are not very good. They have a guard that weighs 274 pounds, which is as much as you, JP.
That's not true.
And
that's inaccurate.
Okay.
It's literally inaccurate.
And you would expect that some of the defensive linemen would get after him. And Roy Robertson Harris got after him. And so did Arden Key. So that's exactly what you want. Get a lead, put them in the situation of where they don't do what they do best, and that's pass block. Worked out perfectly. You don't think you're
trying to say I'm not a guard? No.
You're a guard.
No.
You're kind of a guard.
I'm in great shape.
JP,
right
if
now.
I was building a football team with our broadcast department, I would have you a guard.
I would be a lineman. Is that what you're saying? No, that's incorrect.
I would have you a guard.
I've actually done well lately. I'm down, man.
I don't think – well, you don't quite have the feet to play tackle.
That's true.
So I'm thinking guard. You're a mauler, brawler type, and you got the look of a guard, I mean, not saying anything bad, but you just
you're saying a lot bad right now.
No,
actually.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're digging a hole. You are digging. Just go ahead, keep digging. I'll remember. That's fine. Whatever. It's all wrong. That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. Now let's move along to the Dallas Cowboys and the Jaguars' defensive matchup this week against a Cowboys offense that can run the football, but 2 different style running backs. Pollard's kind of come on lately. Obviously, this year he stepped up, and they run the ball, 7th best rushing offense in the NFL. Zeke Elliott has been there, obviously the standby, big, powerful guy that can run you over and do all that kind of stuff. They've got a big play guy in C.D. Lamb on the outside, and hey, they're doing it a few different ways with Dak Prescott, play action. It's not the most explosive Cowboys team of all time, obviously, but they can still do some damage.
No, and those 2 backs with the numbers that we have up on our screen there, that's really the powerhouse part of their offense. And Zeke Elliott has been a good football player for quite a few years, and he's more of a power back now. And when I say power back, you watch the film and guys bounce off of him often. And Tony Pollard is more of the dynamic, big play, does some things that are really special. And Zeke Elliott used to have some of that, but it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit, but still incredibly dependable. And those 2 guys, I think, are a really good combination of running backs. And right now they're kind of taking the pressure off, or at least they're trying to allow them to take the pressure off of Dak Prescott, who had a thumb injury and missed weeks 2 through 6 earlier in the season. A lot of people may forget about that or have forgotten about that. But he had a thumb issue, and the thumb issue obviously doesn't allow him to be, I think, the Dak Prescott that we've seen in the past. I mean, look at the numbers. It's kind of hard to argue. I mean, he's
throwing some picks this year.
Yeah, his touchdown to turnover interception ratio is definitely not what it's been in the past. Usually Dak Prescott is really good at protecting the football. But lately he has had some issues, and you hope that you can end up kind of getting after it a little bit. But the reality is that here's a number that will, I don't want to say surprise you, but even though those numbers are there, the interceptions, since Dak Prescott returned to the lineup, that was week 7, right? So 2 through 6 he was out. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys lead the NFL scoring 35.7 points per game.
Wow.
So even though he hasn't been his best, he's got interceptions, those 2 running backs are really helping. And they have another issue, though, this week. They've got some offensive line question marks. They lost their really good right tackle, and now they're going to shuffle some guys around. Could Tyron Smith be back in the lineup at left tackle to allow their rookie Tyler Smith to move in to left guard? Will Jason Peters start at right tackle? A lot of questions, and we may not know the answers until Sunday.
Until they roll the ball out on kickoff time and see what happens when they run out there.
But that's the area that I think you really got to take advantage of.
Trenches.
The trenches. I mean, that trench battle, because look, I know that Tyron Smith has been to 8 Pro Bowls, okay? I understand that Jason Peters has been to 9 Pro Bowls, okay? Zach Martin's been to 7 Pro Bowls.
That's a lot of Pro Bowls.
It's a lot of Pro Bowls with just 3 guys. Okay, I get it. But when you got a guy coming off of IR, playing for the first time this season, when you have 8-time Pro Bowl tackle that's playing right tackle for the first time, he did last week a couple series, but then really for the first time since 2005, and then when you have a first-round pick tackle that now moves back into guard, how good can they be? And so I think you really have to win that battle to be able to beat the Cowboys this week.
Well, we'll come back in a moment. We'll get to the Cowboys defense. That's a group that can really get after it now.
They got edge guys aplenty. And arguably the best defender in the league in Micah Parsons. This guy in his second year is just lights out.
We'll dig deep on that coming up. There's no better time to become a Daily's Place Blue member than right now. Enjoy the best live music around with access to the best seats and amenities, premium parking, and much more. Reserve your spot for the 2023 season now. For more, email ticketing@boldevents.com or call 904-633-2000. Some great shows being lined up starting in March at Daily's Place. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is number 1 among state schools for the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We'll get to the injury report coming up in just a little bit. It has been announced today. But this Cowboys defense, we'll hear coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show, of course. The Jaguars head coach joins us at the top of the hour. And then we'll hear from Chris Manhertz as well. He'll join us in studio, Jaguars tight end, and get his thoughts on the season so far and the Cowboys defense. So, about this Cowboys defense, Logs, they are second in the league in sacks. They take the ball away a good bit. They have star power really on every level. And this group is getting it done this year. And this is a challenge.
Really good. And, look, it's a top 5 defense in yards. You talked about the takeaways, second in the league in takeaways, second in the league in sacks, second in the league against the pass, third in the league in points allowed. I mean, this is an upper echelon defense that's led by the former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Quinn, who is one of those Gus Bradley, Pete Carroll defensive guys. And at some point, Dan Quinn's going to get another opportunity to be a head coach in this league because he had a good run there in Atlanta. But he's got these guys playing well. And one of the reasons that they play well is they've got some top-end players that can play for this defense. And it starts, I think, with Micah Parsons, who is a coach's dream. It's interesting in that, his rookie year after when he came out of Penn State, they played him at linebacker, they played him at edge. And this year, they're almost playing him exclusively as an edge player because he can have more of an impact on a play-by-play basis by being an edge player as opposed to being a Mike or a Will or a Sam linebacker.
5 yards off the ball.
Right. And he's got such a knack for balance that when you watch the film on him, the guy is always in control with power. Which that's rare. Some guys have to get in the right position to have power, and he has just natural power and great bend, and he's got great hands. There's nothing he doesn't do. He's got a great motor. I mean, he is everything you want to have in a defensive player. I mean, him and Aaron Donald, I think, are the real freaks of this league. Chris Jones. I mean, those 3 guys, can you think of anybody else that would be up in that category that can absolutely dominate a game?
Take it over like that? I mean, there's a handful.
TJ Watt, but not like – TJ doesn't do it play after play. Look, great player.
Yeah.
Okay, great player. But this guy can affect the game every play. Every play. And the crazy part is that, look, they got – DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side.
They got other guys, too.
Who is really good.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, when they want to roll in the next wave of guys, they've got this rookie Sam Williams, who is one of their best pass rushers, and he has the highest pass rush grade of any rookie in the league. Okay, of all the rookie pass rushers, their rookie, who was their second-round pick out of Mississippi, he's got the highest success pass rush rate that there is in the league. And then Dante Fowler is a guy, just a rotational guy. And so, they've got players that can play. The one weakness that they have, if there really is one, is that in the interior, the defensive tackles are not great. And then they're kind of just, I don't want to say they're guys, but they're, compared to the rest of this defense, they're not as good. And in that corner, you've got Trayvon, how do you pronounce it?
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon. Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I pronounce that right. Trayvon Diggs, who last year had 11 interceptions. That's a crazy number.
That's like 3 short of the league record for a single season.
11 in 1 year.
Night Train Lane had 14, I think. That's the record.
11 interceptions, 16 career. This guy's tremendous. And they wrote, or I read somewhere, that he hasn't had an interception in 6 games. Who else gets that written about them?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's off his game. He hasn't had one.
He hasn't had an interception
in
6 games. That's like headlines, right? That's how good this guy is. And so if you're Trevor Lawrence, who's been doing a great job in the last 5 games, hasn't had an interception, you gotta watch out for him. The safety end, they've got, I think, a couple really good players. Malik Hooker, who was a former number 1 pick for the Indianapolis Colts, and he actually tore his knee against the Jaguars a couple years ago. He is a good player. He's got lots of speed, great middle kind of center fielder. And then Donovan Wilson is a more around the line of scrimmage type of safety. He's a good player as well. They've got a good rookie corner in Deron Bland, who was a 5th-round pick out of Fresno State. Great pickup for the Cowboys. He's actually got, I think, 3 interceptions on the season, one of the highest-rated rookie corners in the league. So they've got a very good defense to go with a very good offense. Probably one of the most, like I said earlier, one of the most balanced teams that there is in the National Football League, and special teams are solid as well.
So, yeah.
By the way, they have 3 defensive scores on the year.
3.
They have 3 fumble returns for touchdowns on the season. And here's a number for you. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys this year have scored 80 points off of 23 takeaways. 80 points off 23 takeaways. Let's compare that to the Jaguars, which the Jaguars have been outstanding as well, right, in the takeaway category.
Early in the season they were, sure.
But have done a pretty good job, right? The Jaguars have scored 77 points off of 20 takeaways. So the Jaguars are doing a good job in that category as well, but the Dallas Cowboys are scoring on defense themselves.
Yeah, that changes the game for sure. All right, so Logs, attacking this Cowboys defense now. You don't want to get in 3rd and long, right, against this group with the pass rush they have and what they've proven to be able to do so far. So is this the week the running game gets a little more involved and maybe they go to it and stick with it for a while?
I hope so. And the reason I say I hope so, because you really need to have balance this week. If you get in a situation where you're in 2nd and 6+, 7+, 3rd down and 5+, you're going to be in trouble. And when I say that, look, you got away with it the last couple of weeks not having a real strong rushing attack. Etienne over the last 3 weeks hasn't been great, right? If you pull the numbers up, I don't know exactly what he's had over the last 3 weeks, but they've been kind of, I don't want to say pedestrian, but that's probably the case. I mean, part of it, he hasn't gotten a lot of touches. Part of it is that the running game hasn't been very successful. And going to Tennessee, you felt good about the team's ability to throw the football and to not have to have a running game. It'd be nice to have a running game. This week, I think you almost have to have a running game to go along with Trevor Lawrence to have success as an offense, just because Dallas is that good across the board as a defense. You got to find a way to take some pressure off of Trevor against a really good defense. I'm not saying that Trevor can't do it. I'm just saying to give yourself the best chance, you got to get that run game going.
So at Kansas City, of course, they were behind in that game, 11 carries, 45 yards for Etienne in that one. Baltimore, he was dinged up, so 2 carries, 3 yards, didn't finish the game. At Detroit, 13 carries, 54 yards. And then at Tennessee, 17 for 32 yards. That's Etienne.
Yeah, you got to be better. You got to be better than those numbers. And I'm not saying that he's got to have 100 yards. He's got to have an effect on the game. And if he doesn't have an effect on the game, it's going to make it more difficult. And, the other thing I will say, we've seen kind of week to week when the Jaguars have had passing success, you've seen Zay Jones have a big game, okay? And then it's Evan Ingram's turn, right, when you go back and look at the last couple wins, okay? Baltimore was Zay. And then against this past week against the Titans, you had Evan Ingram. You go back against Detroit, it was Christian that had the big game. So like every week, kind of everybody's taking turns. In a game like this against the Cowboys, where they're good across the board and they have a well-rounded football team, I'm not saying everybody has to have a big game, but you got to have more than just one guy having a big game. You got to have 2 or 3 guys that are playing well.
Let's take a look now at the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The PR department has put out the official injury report after Thursday's practice. Andre Sisco has been full both days, Wednesday and Thursday.
Positive.
That's good news for the safety. A lot of changes back there in the back of the secondary too.
Well, and fortunately the Jaguars have had Andrew Wingard, who he has played outstanding football, and so give him credit, because this defense has not missed a beat with him in the starting lineup with Sisco out. And look, you'd like to have everybody available because then that allows them to play some 3 safety sets and then also allows Wingard to have a really solid impact on special teams, but credit to Wingard.
Wingard on the report this week with the shoulder issue, limited both days, Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see.
And you could tell that he made that one hit early in the ball game and was real slow to get up and comes back in the ball game, and then he made some tackles later in the game, was wincing a little bit. But those type of players willing to suck it up and can suck it up, that's what the job description requires.
Staying in the secondary, cornerback Darius Williams, an abdomen issue, did not practice yesterday, limited today. That's a step in the right direction.
All right,
see what happens with him.
Good.
Linebacker Chad Muma with an ankle issue, limited both days. We'll see what happens tomorrow with him. Let's see, offensive lineman Brandon Sheriff, an abdomen issue, did not practice yesterday, limited today. Trevor Lawrence, the toe issue, did not practice Wednesday, limited on Thursday. And then Trayvon Walker with the ankle issue has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday.
That doesn't look good, right?
No.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's the Jaguar side of it. The Cowboys have a couple defensive ends on the list, limited both days for Dorrance Armstrong and DeMarcus Lawrence. And Dante Fowler, non-injury issue, did not practice today. Safety, Jaron Kearse with a shoulder and back issue, limited both days. Jake Ferguson, tight end, with a concussion, has not practiced.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make it. There's going to be a few guys that are not going to make it on both teams, Just have to kind of see how it works out. But for the most part, this Jaguars football team remains incredibly healthy. You look at the number of games that have been missed by the starters. When I'm talking about starters going all the way back to opening day, there's not been very many at all, Knock on wood. As long as they can stay healthy, you got a chance. And Trayvon Walker being out of the lineup this week, that's not going to help. But the reality is that the guys that have been rotating in there, Dwan Smoot, Arden Key, they have been doing a very good job. They're probably playing just as effective. But the one thing you'll miss with Trayvon Walker is that physical presence. I just think of the tackle that he made on Okonkwo in the flat.
Yeah.
And it was just like he was ragdolling the guy.
Right.
And makes the sack cause fumble and how physical he is when he hits people. I think that's the one thing that's really special about Trayvon Walker is the physicality that he plays the game with, I think, is second to none.
You mentioned the number of players. The Jaguars still have the fewest number of players used in games this season in the NFL. Only 58 players have touched the field for the Jaguars, and as a comparison, the Titans have used the most in the league with 80 this year. So there you go. That's good news.
Yeah, that's a much kind of a wide gap there between the Jaguars and the Titans, and you just wonder how long. When you have that many injuries and that kind of players that are unavailable for a team that's leading the division, can they hang on?
That's right. Here come the Jags.
I just hope that you get this game, and then all of a sudden you keep looking towards that game, that last game of the year, and you go, man, how cool would it be going into that game at this place against your rival with the playoffs and the division title on the line. And I know that's looking way ahead and jumping ahead and that there's a lot. But you know what, JP, we're allowed to do that.
That's what we're doing here.
We're allowed to do that. Coaches and players are not.
We better get it in now because the Doug Pederson show next. They won't be able to do that, Doug and Chris Manhertz. But
yeah, they won't be able to do that. But they shouldn't do that.
No.
But I think at the same token, you have to have that carrot dangling in front of you to give you purpose, to give you the drive, to give you the focus and concentration. And I think that that's okay. But you don't have to sit there and talk about it and be living in that moment 4 or 5 weeks down the road. But there's nothing wrong with living in the moment and realizing what's ahead.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're back in a moment with our final thoughts, and then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach and Jags tight end Chris Manhertz will join us in studio. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Tired of hearing "fine" to every question you ask your child? Conversations with a child or teen in your life may sometimes feel one-sided, but they help build the foundation for lifelong mental wellness. Getting started can be difficult, but you don't have to do it alone. Wolfson Children's On Our Sleeves program provides just what you need to spark conversations that have lasting benefits. For free tools and expert advice delivered to your inbox each month, visit wolfsonchildrens.com/onoursleeves.
With sun, sand, and surf, the holidays are a little different around here. And your local Ford dealer is here to help you celebrate with a Holiday Your Way sales event. Now's the time for great deals on Ford trucks or SUVs, arriving just in time for the holidays. Power up your holiday light show in a Ford F-150 truck with available Pro Power onboard. Or gather the whole family in a Ford Explorer SUV with seating for 7. Don't miss the Holiday Your Way sales event, going on now at your local Ford dealer. Not all models, trims, or features may be available or may be subject to change.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timnary, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
It's the holiday savings event going on now at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, get $300 off windows and $825 off patio doors. Plus no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Offer expires December 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. Call now. License number CGC 1527613.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is #1 among state schools for the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It's Thursday. It's Week 15. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars host the Dallas Cowboys Sunday at TIAA Bank Field. And if you're watching on Jaguars.com and Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, it's a live look just outside of the bank where the Miller Electric Center is under construction. Well, it's moving right along, man. That's looking nice. The sun is setting. It was a rainy day, a lot of the day today. Jeff, you carried an umbrella to practice somehow. I don't know why.
Right.
I mean, it was not even barely sprinkling.
I don't want to melt.
Yeah, I mean, you are on TV later, I guess. But I mean, it wasn't even raining.
No, it was sprinkling.
No, it was not. It literally was sprinkling.
No,
that means it was not raining.
It was raining a little bit, JP.
Sprinkling.
I don't like to melt, so I figured that I would carry an umbrella out there because I can.
I thought you were a tough defensive lineman.
Oh, it doesn't mean
it's football practice.
Doesn't mean you're not tough. What's wrong with that?
It kind of does a little bit, but that's okay.
I did get kind of called out.
You got heckled.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you carry an umbrella to practice.
Yeah. It was very quick. I mean, literally, as soon as I got out there with the umbrella, somebody started yelling. I'm like, who's yelling? And George,
I won't call it. Oh, you just did. Okay.
George, the equipment guy, is like, no, that's not allowed. Like, what do you mean it's not allowed? It's raining.
What are you doing? Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Country superstar Kenny Chesney is coming to Jacksonville April 14th. Tickets on sale now, and don't miss the I Go Back tour with special guest Kelsey Ballerini That's at Daly's Place. For tickets and more,
Ooh, that's a good one.
visit dailysplace.com.
That's a good one.
That should be a good one, yeah.
Really good one. That's April 14th.
That's what it says.
Who do I call to get tickets?
You can go to dailysplace.com.
All right, I'm going to do that because that's a good concert.
Never seen Chesney before.
I haven't either. I heard he puts on a great show, and
That's what I heard too.
Kelsey Ballerini, I think
Yeah.
I've heard is excellent. Haven't seen her or had anything of her music playing on my Spotify, but I heard she's good.
It'll be one of the most intimate venues that Chesney plays. I can tell you that. It's about 5,500 seats. He's a stadium guy. Yeah, that's right.
Stadium guy.
So
yeah, looking forward to that.
Check that out. All right, Cowboys, Jaguars coming up, Week 15, meaningful December game. Jaguars, are starting to play better football over the last month and a half, and finish some games. And the quarterback's playing well. The defense is back to taking the ball away. At least last week they were. That's good news. Well, the Cowboys are right there, as you said earlier. You feel that they're probably the second most well-rounded team the Jaguars have faced this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10-3 for a reason because they've got playmakers all over both sides.
Yeah, and their strong point for years was always their offensive line. And
They had, 3 years they drafted first-round linemen in a row or something? Remember that?
Well, I mean, they had Pro Bowl guy after Pro Bowl guy along the offensive line, and that was really the strength of their football team with a young quarterback and Dak Prescott, and then Ezekiel Elliott was, the best back in the league, I think, early on. But that's changed a little bit. They've spent some draft capital on the offensive line, but they just haven't hit on some of those picks like they did in the past. And so it's a good offensive line, but right now with the injuries that they've had, I think there's a lot of questions that go along with that offensive line. But there is no questioning the two backs, as we talked about. Those guys are good. You've got, I think, a good tight end in Schultz, not a great tight end. And CeeDee Lamb he's an elite player.
The catch and run ability. I just called you dude, by the way. Sorry. The catch and run ability.
Dude.
The catch and run ability of Lamb. I don't know if there's many in the game like. Obviously, the guys in Miami are like him, right? But if they catch it, you're not going to get those guys. Lamb's not far off. At least when he came out of Oklahoma, that was his game with the Sooners, and it's kind of carried over now to Dallas.
Yeah, he only needs, here's a couple numbers on him, 39 yards to get to 1,000, and that will be his second season of reaching 1,000 yards.
His other season that wasn't was like 970 or
exactly.
something. Yeah.
But when you look at PFF, they rank the receivers, and I always look at the rankings overall. I don't look at just receiving because they have a receiving category and overall category. And CeeDee Lamb is the 9th rated wide receiver overall in the National Football League, and that's an elite player. And when you look at how much he's targeted, he's been targeted 28% of his routes, or 26.8% of his routes. That's an incredibly high percentage, and the numbers bear it out. If I'm Dak Prescott, I'm looking his way too, just because he has been highly productive, and he can line up inside, outside. It doesn't matter. He's effective anywhere he lines up.
All right, so Jaguars defense secondary, are they've kind of gone away from the man the last little while anyway. That's going to be the MO down the stretch, right?
I think. Zone. I mean, look, every game plan can change week to week, so could they come out this week and play more man? Could. But I don't see that happening. Last week you got Trey Herndon active after being inactive the previous two games. That, to me, showed that they were making a commitment to playing zone against Tennessee. Maybe some of that, maybe a lot of that was to do with they wanted to keep eyes on Derrick Henry. And will that be the case this week? Probably so, because you got two great backs. I mean, keep the eyes on the backs, keep the eyes on the quarterback, and to be perfectly honest, this team is not playing very well in man. You've got some issues in the back end. You've had some issues at linebacker with eye discipline. And I think the solution for this team right now is to play more zone like they did last week. And they also did a few things differently this past week. I don't know if you noticed, but when they went to their sub situation, which sub is when they go to their nickel. Okay, now they're pass rushing. You got four guys on the line. Did you notice that all of their hands were down?
About that? No, I did not.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a change because in the past you had the defensive tackles with their hands in the ground, and then you had Josh and Trayvon were standing up on the outside, or Smoot and Arden Key were standing up on the outside.
Everybody's down, huh?
This past game, everybody had their hand in the ground when they went to that four-man kind of look. Now, it wasn't every time, but way more than what they had previously been doing.
All right, well, let me ask you this then, as a former defensive lineman. Why would it be any different from standing to having a hand on the ground? What's the difference in the get off, the first step, everything that goes with that?
And that's a great question, and I'll answer that question with a question to you.
Oh.
How many Olympic sprinters have you ever seen start in a two-point stance?
Not in the last 80 years, probably not.
Never.
No.
Okay, and the reason why is that you're faster out of the gate when you're in a three-point stance or four-point. Those guys are both hands down on the ground with their fingers out. But as a pass rusher, you always threaten the upfield shoulder with the first couple steps of speed. You generate the best speed from a three-point stance. And so I think that that's important. I don't understand why they weren't rushing from a three-point stance all year long. I don't quite understand that. And some people would say, and football people would say, well, you know what, if you rush from a two-point, it allows you to drop into coverage and to see everything, before you drop. Well, look, guys have been dropping in zone dogs, or not zone dogs, in a pressure zone situation, zone blitz, from three-point stance for years. I mean, teams have dropped defensive tackles that have been in a three-point stance and dropped them into a zone coverage. They've dropped defensive ends from three-point stance into zone coverage. So it's not like it can't be done from a three-point stance. And if you really – and look, Josh Allen has a better get-off and is a more effective pass rusher. His win rate is higher from a three-point stance compared to a two-point stance. Trayvon Walker is less hesitant when he rushes from a three-point stance compared to a two-point stance. So good to see these guys in 3 points and keep doing it and cut them loose.
All right, coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll hear from head coach Doug Pederson on, you guessed it, the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. That's just a few minutes away. So, Logs, what do you want to hear from Doug Pederson 2.5 minutes from right now?
I want to hear about Trevor. I want to hear about his quarterback. I mean, that's it's been the story of the last couple of weeks with this organization. We really, I thought, had a moment here at home against Baltimore, and he took it to a whole nother level this past week at Tennessee, getting the win. And where's he at? What's next? What does he see? He's got the trained eye. He's been around great quarterback play before. He's been a teammate of great quarterbacks. I want to hear about Trevor.
We'll hear about Trevor, and then we'll hear from Chris Manhertz. He'll join us in studio as well.
That's great.
We'll get his thoughts on what's happened so far this season, what's to come down the stretch, and then get into his head on the Dallas Cowboys defense and some of their personnel, what they have to offer. Get a perspective from a tight end.
He's been studying it, and I think the beauty of having a tight end, because when you certain guys have, like, for example, when you talk to a defensive back, he's going to know the wide receivers, and he's studying those guys. Tight ends study everybody. They study linebackers. They study the defensive ends and the edge players because they got to block all of those guys. They even study the safeties. And so I think it's going to have a pretty unique perspective in having Manhertz in here to talk a little bit about that Dallas Cowboys defense.
And it's a really good one. So there's plenty to talk about, that's for sure. That's coming up in just about a minute or so on the Jaguars Radio Network. And as we said earlier, near sellout. There are standing room tickets being sold as we speak, so I would anticipate that they would get there at some point between now and Sunday. But it will be a packed house and will be a fantastic crowd, and what a scene it should be for the Jaguars at 5-8 and the Dallas Cowboys at 10-3 this Sunday at the Bank. When we come back in just a moment, it's Jaguars Radio Network coverage, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach in just a matter of moments. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It's week 15 of the Doug Pederson Show. Week 15 in the season. Meaningful games in December. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and head coach Doug Pederson. And it's meaningful still, certainly, because of the huge team win last week in Nashville. Trailing in the game 7-0, 14-7. Could have gone the wrong way right before half. Turnovers and points off turnovers. The quarterback played out of his mind. I mean, all that came together for a massive team win last week.
Yeah, it did, and it was it was exciting to see the defense play the way they did, create the turnovers. We talked about putting pressure on the quarterback, and really a lot of the turnovers came from just that, and then punching the ball out, and then the offense being able to capitalize on a lot of those takeaways. And we talked quite a bit too about the middle 8. We got the 7 before the half, and obviously coming out in the third quarter, and we had the kickoff return for the touchdown, but it got called back. But the offense was still able to go out and take about seven minutes or something off the clock and score again. So 14 points right there, and really, again, we talk about complementary football. We've had flashes of it, and it was good to see, our team do that last weekend.
Boy, takeaways and points always kind of go hand in hand a little bit, and 20 points off of those 4 takeaways. And the number for the season, 20 takeaways, 77 points off of the takeaways. And, boy, you needed it in that game.
We really did. It's one of the things going into that football game. We knew they were a really, really good run football team, and they can control the clock and really control the game if they can run it and get points themselves, and score. And we just felt going into it as well that if we can get the lead and somehow maintain the lead and get them out of their comfort zone just a little bit, that might be in our favor. And who would have thought that Trevor, missing a couple days of practice, would have gone out and played the way he did? But it's a credit to him and his preparation and Coach McCoy of getting him prepared with just a day or two of preparation.
So do you let him not practice on Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Well, no. It's not the recipe for success, but no, it's just a credit to Trevor. And, we make sure that the guys are healthy, who can practice. And I thought C.J. Beathard, who, our backup quarterback, did an outstanding job for 2 days and was really in the mind frame of playing that football game and did a nice job of getting our guys ready to go. And then Trevor took over and, played as well as he did.
I thought it was impressive just from the standpoint of you would have never have known that he had a toe bothering him whatsoever. And credit to your training staff, to your equipment staff, making sure he's got the right equipment on that foot and everything else, because literally when he took off and ran, looked great.
Yeah, he moved around really well, and yeah, like you said, the training room and the docs and obviously some modern medicine to make that thing not feel quite as painful during the game can help. And I've been there with injury and played through it, but that's just a sign of a really true leader of our team who can play through some injury and pain, and it's really sets I think a standard for the rest of the guys, and we have a ton of guys that play through injury, but I think it just sets the tone that your quarterback can do that and still play at a high level.
I think I misspoke earlier. I said the quarterback played out of his mind. Well, this is his mind. He's really settled in now the last month or so, and a lot's been made this week about that goal-to-go interception in London, that being a turning point of sorts for him. It kind of maybe a revelation. Hey, I got to get my act together here and help this football team. But that certainly has been the case since then. He's elevating his game, it seems like, week to week. So out of his mind, no, this is what his mind is right now, and this is a good place to be.
It is, and there's plays, there's moments, there's scenarios individually that sort of kind of can wake a player up a little bit in this league. And there's games that can wake teams up in this league, and I'm a big believer of that. And I do believe that Denver game was something that really stuck with Trevor. and he really wanted to rebound from that and not let his teammates down. That's the type of competitor that he is, and he's had a lot of success when he was even at Clemson, and and listen, he's going to face adversity. You don't go through this game and play as long as hopefully he does, and then not go through adversity. We're all going to face it, but he's done a great job of handling that and really, knock on wood, let's say, playing pretty good football right now.
Yeah, he had so many good moments, and the chunk play in the 2-minute drill to Christian Kirk. By the way, great play design for the coaching staff. Little dump off to Evan Ingram where Jawan ends up chipping Byard on the way out. But my favorite play of all was taking a knee, and then the defensive tackle comes off and hits Fortner under the chin in a knee situation, which was totally Bush League, and then Trevor immediately gets up into his face. To me, that's kind of a sign that says, hey, look, I got my guys, and then my guys also got me, and that's not going to happen. I love that.
Yeah, it's just a great sign of just your quarterback who has a ton of respect and sort of admiration for his offensive line and vice versa. And when Trevor can do that and stand up for anybody on the team, especially the offensive line, those guys are going to go to battle, for Trevor. And I get it, the situation. We just ran the ball there, I think 3 straight times, got the first down, which we needed the first down, to really ice the game. And I know guys are upset, and it's a tough situation, and we have to be, as an offense in those situations, be smart and expect things from the defense. But for Trevor to really step in there and not back down, I thought was a really good sign of a leader and someone the guys can respect.
Doug Pederson Show continues. Let's move now to the Dallas Cowboys, 10-3. Of course, you're very familiar with that organization. We go to the Microsoft Surface now for a social media question about the Dallas offense. And this is from @JagShan2255. How has Dak Prescott played this season for the Cowboys? How dangerous is CD Lamb on the outside? They have a running game to go with it too, but those two guys especially can play.
Yeah, what you've seen, I think, since the injury that Dak had early in the year, he's really come into his own and playing really good football. I know there were some key takeaways, Houston created last week and some uncharacteristical things that Dak did. But, I think he's been playing really good, playing smart. He's another quarterback that plays tough and physical, and he can beat you with his legs and obviously throwing the ball. And, and CD Lamb is – I think he's the benefit of, they lost Amari Cooper a couple years ago, and now he's kind of the focal point of that receiving group, and he's dangerous. We need to know where he is and where he lines up, and he can be all over the field. So it's a matchup that we saw it with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams earlier in the season, and we're going to continue to see really good quarterbacks and receivers, combinations the deeper we go this season, and hopefully in the postseason for sure if we get there.
This Cowboys football team, great challenge for your team. As about as well-rounded as a football team you're going to face probably since the Philadelphia Eagles, as far as offense and defense and special teams. You guys are going to have to be on it.
Yeah, this is a good football team, all 3 phases. Even special teams are really, really good. You got great players, good returners. Their kicker is outstanding. And then, defensively, they've created takeaways this year, not only fumbles but interceptions. They're really good on third down, and just a well-coached team again. Coach McCarthy's got these guys rolling. This is really 2 years in a row now that they're playing like this and kind of lights out, and it does. It takes it's going to take a really good effort by our football team. You can't make a lot of mistakes. You got to take care of the football against these guys. Great pass rushers in Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. These guys can get after you, and offensive line is good. I know they got the right tackle deal right now, but offensive line is solid. So where's the weakness in their team, but I like where our guys are at. I like the way we've been playing here the last couple of weeks, and then should be a good game.
Their defense, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, and you talked about Lawrence. You also talked about Micah Parsons. Is Micah Parsons maybe the best you've seen on the edge this year? Watching the film on him, there's nothing this guy can't do, and he wins at such a high rate. It's incredible.
This guy is extremely high motor. He never quits. He's got a great first step. He can cross face. He can bend the edge. He can chase from behind. I mean, you see every play on tape, and he's a special player, and we have to know where he's at, obviously, where he lines up. But if you put all your eggs in one basket on one side of the field, there's number 90 standing on the other side of the field, and he's just as dangerous. So our tackles are going to, Juwan and Cam are got their hands full this week. But again, we don't have to put them on islands. We've got you put a tight end over there, but again, you see tight ends and backs helping tackles, and these two guys are still getting to the quarterback. So it's a really good challenge for us.
Final thought with you here, Coach. Meaningful games in December. That was a goal of this organization, and this certainly qualifies. Now 2 back of Tennessee with 4 to play. The Dallas Cowboys have a lot to play for on their side as well. The environment should be at one of the all-time highs here at the bank, I think, going into this game. So, but for all that to matter down the stretch the next month, this game matters, right? It's one game at a time, right?
It's definitely a one-game mentality, and that's the way we approach each week. And this is a big game for us again, just like we talked about last week being a big game and sort of a must game. And our guys feel that, and I really want the guys to feel that pressure. To feel the big game environment. Especially around here, and it's all part of winning and teaching the culture of winning. And our guys are going to be excited. It should be a great crowd from what I'm hearing, and I know the Cowboy fans travel extremely well. I've been a part of a few of those games before, so it should be a great atmosphere on Sunday.
You know how to keep them quiet is to score early and often. How about that?
Well, that's the plan, but it's easier said than done.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
I appreciate it.
Back with more on the Doug Pederson Show after this on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
With sun, sand, and surf, the holidays are a little different around here. And your local Ford dealer is here to help you celebrate with a Holiday Your Way sales event. Now's the time for great deals on Ford trucks or SUVs, arriving just in time for the holidays. Power up your holiday light show in a Ford F-150 truck with available Pro Power onboard. Or gather the whole family in a Ford Explorer SUV with seating for 7. Don't miss the Holiday Your Way sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Not all models, trims, or features may be available or may be subject to change.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else. Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Yes, it does. Presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment each and every Thursday here on the Jaguars Radio Network. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. And, hey, it's tight end Chris Manhertz joining us in studio. Great to see you, Chris. Thanks for swinging in, man.
Thanks for having me.
7th year in the league. I love this story because you didn't play a lick of football in college. It was all basketball. You got a tryout with the Buffalo Bills. You went to college right there in Buffalo, and then just kept building and staying in this.
What's the college?
Canisius, right?
Canisius.
You guys any good in basketball?
We're working on that right now. But
I'm not going to say they're 2-7 to start the year.
Oh,
but that's okay. No big deal.
No comment.
That's what it is. But you've managed to grow your career really from nothing. You weren't a football guy at all. How did you get that first initial phone call, and what was your mindset to, hey, let me try this football out?
My mindset initially in the beginning was, to be honest with you, I really had nothing to lose by giving it a shot. So just having an open mind going into it, just having a growth mindset through it all, and understanding that, everywhere along the way there might be conflict, there might be issues, but pushing through and just being an open learner throughout the process.
So what did you weigh? Basketball player, I'm thinking, were you a power forward? Like Barkley or something?
Yeah, I was about 235.
And you're
college.
6'7"?
6'6".
6'7", 235?
235.
That's like tight end numbers right down the line.
I know, but I had to put on a little bit of weight just given the demands of my role and what I was asked to do, but I'm 260 pounds now.
Okay, so
he's filled out a little bit.
A little bit. So are you aware of the guys that have done what you've done before you, that guys that played basketball in college that made the transition to the NFL? And if you do have an awareness about them, who are they?
Tony Gonzalez, first one that comes to the top of the mind, Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, all those guys kind of seeing their story and their journey and how they progressed and maintained and sustained a long career throughout the years. That gave me motivation going into it, knowing that it's possible.
Yeah, you left one out in the building that's going to remind you of that, too. Marcus Pollard's going to knock on your door here very soon, I think.
Marcus Pollard is a brother for life. We talk about it all the time.
And he brings a lot to the organization, obviously. Chris Manhertz.
But what's so funny, though, is that you're a blocking tight end. Basketball players that make the transition to football are supposed to catch a ton of balls.
And to be honest with you, that was my mindset going into it. But at the time, being at the bottom of the totem pole, you kind of had to figure out a way to see the field. So for me, that was just embracing the run blocking role, and seeing how it has blossomed throughout the years is just, it's a good feeling.
So how do you grow up not playing football? Just not in your family? Is it the area you grew up in? How does that happen?
Wasn't a thought. The first ball that I picked up was basketball. Born and raised in the Bronx, from New York City, and basketball is pretty big in New York City. So I didn't really it wasn't even a thought at the time. I was just completely focused on basketball.
Wow. Yeah, college football isn't even a thing there.
Idols. Who are your idols in basketball?
Growing up, Kevin Garnett, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, even now LeBron James.
But I'm talking New York basketball. Anthony Mason. He was that power forward kind of when I was in New York, right?
Anthony Mason, Patrick Ewing, all those guys, just that hard-nosed style of play that kind of represented New York City basketball.
Yeah.
Chris Manhertz with us, Jaguars tight end, second season with the Jaguars now, and this team it seems starting to find its stride now in the back half of this season, really the last month plus. Do you guys feel that way in the locker room? And then how has this team grown even going back to the offseason program, new coaching staff coming in, offseason program, training camp, quarterback in second year, everything that goes into that, it seems to now be paying off in December. Is that right?
Most certainly, and I think just having that process-oriented mindset between, when Doug and his staff came in here to now, we knew that their, challenges are inevitable. We didn't really start the season or the first half of the season the way we wanted to, but Doug preaches all the time that, we want to be in a position to play meaningful games in December, and that's where we are. So for us, the stakes are high, the sense of urgency is high, but I'd rather no other way.
I kind of want to go back just a little bit, because to give people a little background, you played for the Carolina Panthers, right? For
Correct.
How many years first?
5 years.
So give people an idea real quick of your journey through the NFL. Try out with the Buffalo Bills?
Try out with the Buffalo Bills.
In what year?
In 2014.
Okay.
Got cut in training camp. Shortly thereafter, got picked up by the New Orleans Saints, and I had my first official practice squad year with New Orleans Saints that whole year. Following that year, had a great offseason. And following that year, I made the 53, and it's been trending upward since.
With New Orleans?
With New Orleans.
And then how did you end up in Carolina?
I got cut maybe week 5 or week 6 into the New Orleans season that I made the 53-man roster. Okay. And the Carolina Panthers claimed me off of waivers, and I was there for quite a while.
And there for quite a while, and then you became a free agent. You signed here as a free agent last year, and you come into a situation that was a little unique last year, we'll say that. But how much fun has it been this year getting past or having gone through last year?
It makes you kind of appreciate just the whole process of the league itself. Obviously, last year wasn't the most ideal situation for us as a team, but seeing and having Doug and his staff come in here and bring in the type of players that they've been able to bring in has been pretty exciting. You know, we have a great chemistry in the locker room, and guys kind of have a hunger and a mentality to get better and take things one week at a time. So I think it's a great culture that we're building over there.
All right, we'll come back in a moment. We're going to get your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys defense. How about that?
Can't wait.
Break it down for us.
Well, we don't want the game plan.
We don't want
we
don't want to give anything away.
The game plan, JP. So make sure your questions are appropriate.
You know what? Same to you, Logs. It's a two-way street.
Okay.
I think he'll keep us clean. That's for sure. Hey, this is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timnery, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
Tired of hearing fine to every question you ask your child? Conversations with a child or teen in your life may sometimes feel one-sided, but they help build the foundation for lifelong mental wellness. Getting started can be difficult, but you don't have to do it alone. Wolfson Children's On Our Sleeves program provides just what you need to spark conversations that have lasting benefits. For free tools and expert advice delivered to your inbox each month, visit wolfsonchildrens.com/onoursleeves.
Hold on. You want me to tell them about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea in just 30 seconds? This is impossible. Hey, I'm Billy from Twisted Tea. How can I explain that first sip of cold, smooth, real brewed tea? So good! And the extra kick you get from just the right amount of alcohol? The twist of lemon, Wait, what? We're almost out of time? Oh, shit. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for the bright yellow cans wherever you buy beer.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And we're presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. The Doug Pederson Show rolls along. Our thanks to the Jaguars head coach joining us at 5 o'clock every Thursday here on the network. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, as the Jaguars face the Dallas Cowboys, America's team coming in, the star, all the hype, everything that goes with Dallas and all that. Hey, it's an NFL team coming to town. Really, that's how you guys look at it. And it's, as you said earlier, a meaningful December game against a team that's performed pretty well this year. This Dallas team overall, 10-3, very good. All right, so let's touch on some of the personnel on the defensive side, because it's a group that's rated very highly, certainly the second most sacks in the league this year, tied for the second most takeaways in the NFL. But that pass rush is something special. Who stands out in that group in the front seven for you?
Most certainly number 11, Micah Parsons, and number 90, DeMarcus Lawrence. Those are the two guys off the edge that really stand out, disruptors and people that you definitely have to have a plan for.
I think it's pretty unique because having a tight end's perspective, you're involved in the run game, the pass game, protection, run blocking. You have safeties that you're blocking at times. So I'm excited to be able to have your perspective on this because the Dallas Cowboys have really good players at three different levels. Van Der Esch, the linebacker, is a good player. The safeties are a good player. And obviously the edge players that you talk about. When you prepare for a game as tight, how much film and how many different guys do you have to watch just because you're blocking so many potential different guys?
Well, the mental aspect, we're watching hours of film on a weekly basis, just studying tendencies, studying personnel, studying different packages based on who's in the game, whether there's 12 personnel, 11 personnel in the game. So it's quite a bit to prepare for, but at this point in time, it's just routine.
And you like most tight ends, your first job requirement and your strength has been blocking. When you face a guy and you watch a guy like Micah Parsons, what makes him such a challenging guy to block?
Well, I think a player like him has all the traits that you would want in an elite pass rusher in this league. He's fast off the ball. He has great get off. He has great speed to power. He's good with his hands. And more importantly, the one distinguishing quality that separates good pass rushers from, great pass rushers is their motor, their ability to be in a relentless pursuit to the ball at all times. So that's definitely something that jumps out on film. But we have our work cut out for us, but we'll be ready for it.
There's one thing when you talk about motor, and also with Micah Parsons, there's some guys that just possess what I call an effortless strength. When they move, they're strong. They're not trying to be strong. They're just naturally strong. As they're walking down the hallway, if you went and jammed them on the shoulder, you don't move them. I mean, he's one of those guys, isn't he?
Yeah, those are things that you really can't teach, and that's what makes him such a good player and such a person you have to have a plan for. But at the same time, we have great linemen. We have great tackles that's able to handle it and has proven it throughout the course of these past couple weeks that it could be handled.
We talked with head coach Doug Pederson just a few minutes ago, and he talked about, we don't have to leave those tackles on an island. Last time I checked, the closest person to a tackle is a tight end. So don't give us the game plan, but just saying.
That's true.
Okay, just saying.
Just got to have a plan.
But those guys, you guys work in tandem and practice a lot. We see it during the open media time. There's some drills. You and the tackles are there together, and that really is a big key, obviously, in this offense when you guys are working in tandem with the tackles, right?
Absolutely, and especially as a tight end, like you said, we have to know the run game in and out. We have to know the pass game in and out. We have to know the protection game in and out, and that can't be done without us and the offensive linemen being on the same page. So a lot of detail goes into that on a week-to-week basis.
One of the guys, we had a conversation earlier, and we were talking about Mercedes Lewis. And Mercedes Lewis, do you watch film on him? Do you happen to catch any film on him? Is he one of the guys that you've watched?
Oh, most certainly, especially when, we're preparing for a team that the Packers have played, and, you can't help but to notice and take note of the type of player that he is and certain techniques that he has. So he's been playing this game for a long time. So I think, it's for a good reason, and, he's doing all the right things to sustain a long career throughout this league.
I'll never forget, you obviously remember Dwight Freeney, okay, one of the best pass rushers in the league in his heyday when it was him and Robert Mathis with the Colts, who we saw twice a year. Mercedes was the only guy in that time frame that I ever saw that could block Dwight Freeney one-on-one in pass pro. Tight end blocking Dwight Freeney. I mean, it's just crazy.
To be honest with you, I think half of it is a mentality. Half of it, you just kind of have to have a dog mentality and have that want-to get it done. Sometimes we're outmatched. The average tight end is ranging between 240 and 260, and the average D lineman could spend from 260 up to 300 pounds. So knowing that, you just have to be on point with your technique, your pad level, your hands, and making sure that everything is perfect so that you could be effective at your job.
Last couple minutes with you. Chris Manhertz with us in studio, Jaguars tight end. And are you a division standings watcher? Do you look at any of that stuff as a team or personally? Do you worry about that, or you're just worried about the star on the helmet?
We're aware of where we stand in the division, but at the same time, we kind of have a week-to-week approach as far as our preparation. So for me, it's honestly, every week is a new week, and the only game that matters right now is winning this game against the Cowboys. Have
you ever faced the Dallas Cowboys with any team that you've been on, Carolina, New Orleans?
One time.
Did you – because I just go back to the first time that I was ever a part of a team was with the Jets, and we went and traveled to Dallas and played the Dallas Cowboys, and it was back at the old stadium, with the hole in the middle that was opened up. There was almost a sense of awe. I think the first experience that you have against the Dallas Cowboys, just because it's the Dallas Cowboys, right? It's America's team. Do you have a conversation with some of your young players to just say, hey, it's a football game, it's Dallas Cowboys, but it doesn't make them any different than the Tennessee Titans or the Indianapolis Colts? Do you talk about that?
Yeah, I think honestly it's kind of a culture now at this point, just throughout the whole locker room and the coaching staff that, every week, we call it a nameless, faceless opponent. At the end of the day, it's about us and how we prepare in our preparation and getting ready for these guys and our assignments and our plays. But we're fully aware of the magnitude of this game, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's up to us, and it's about us and how we do our jobs and our assignments and being successful in this game.
Excited for the environment here? Should be packed house.
I heard it's a packed house, so even better. Feels probably going to be a playoff-like environment. So, like I said, it doesn't get better than that in December.
All right, so before we let you go, okay, just a fun question here. The basketball game, do you still play a little bit? You play horse, one-on-one, pick up basketball?
What are you trying to, ask him for a game? What are you trying to do, Locke?
You still got game?
I don't think I have nearly as close to as much game as I used to. I mean, that was 8 years ago. And ever since I started playing football, it's kind of – you start to fall in love with it a little bit and just, forget about the basketball thing because it was so long ago. But I watch
some guys won't let you forget. Do you ever get challenged to a little one-on-one in the off season?
I'm not even going to risk it at this point. I'm in my 8th year in the league. I'm just trying to see the next year, see the next week. So I'll just be the bystander for the most part.
All right, last question from me. Scoring average at Canisius?
I think it was about 8 points, 9 rebounds, something like that.
Decent. 9 rebounds, good.
Decent.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I had a couple 20-win seasons while you were there too, right?
Yeah.
The last 2.
Yep. So that was pretty good.
Pretty good. So there you go. Not this year, but I mean that's a different story. They're working on it though.
We're working. It's a process.
I just know how the locker room works sometimes. That everybody wants to. The former basketball player, of course, everybody thinks that they got basketball game, and so everybody wants to show you what kind of game they got. Yeah. Challenges a horse or one-on-one or whatever.
Everybody's trying to make their mock 5-on-5 teams in the locker room. So it's fun. It's entertaining. You get it every year, so it's good.
Love it. Chris, thanks for the time. Thanks for coming in. We'll see you again soon.
Appreciate you having me.
Good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Let's beat those Cowboys. How about that?
Indeed.
Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end with us. We're back with more on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
At 5-Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. 5-Star Credit Union, 5starcu.org. Go Jags!
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
This holiday season, unwrap a brand new Dreamfinders home. You'll enjoy everything that makes the holidays merry and bright with family and friends in an expertly built, energy-efficient Dreamfinders home. What could be better than calling one of St. Johns County's magnificent communities such as Shearwater, Beacon Lake, or Silverleaf home as 2022 comes to a close and an exciting new year begins. Plus, with an interest rate lock special from Dreamfinders Homes, the timing is perfect to be in a gorgeous move-in ready home. Happy holidays to all from Dreamfinders Homes. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. This is the Doug Pederson Show. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment each and every Thursday. And our thanks to Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, for joining us for the last 20 minutes or so. Good conversation. Guy now in his second year with the Jaguars organization, 7th year in the NFL. And it is a fantastic story. And a guy who never played football until he tried out for the Buffalo Bills. That's amazing. And then all of a sudden he's still in the NFL and got a free agent contract here last year and is obviously a huge piece of this tight end room for the Jaguars in the run blocking game. And
he's a really good blocker.
Yeah.
So he's if you look at PFF's rankings of blocking tight ends in the league, he is one of the better tight ends in the league. And for the Jaguars, extremely valuable. You kind of have two tight ends in the league now. You have your inline guy who's more of a blocking tight end, and then you have the dynamic move tight ends, and he's that inline blocking tight end, that extra offensive lineman, but still having a guy that has the ability to make some catches. And look, he's got 6 catches on the year. He had 6 last year. So one more will be a career high for him.
That's right. He does have a couple career touchdowns. I think the first Trevor Lawrence touchdown pass was to him?
Correct.
That's right. That'll be a good trivia question one day.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember. We asked him about where the ball went a couple days ago, and he said that nobody kind of kept the ball, and he actually thought he should have kept it. He wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
And Trevor ended up getting the ball. And which is good. I mean, at least it ends up. But he was like, man, he goes, I should have kept that, never gave to Trevor. I might have been able to. I mean, he probably could have sold it, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Hey, Trevor, how much you want to give me for your first touchdown
sold
ball?
it to the quarterback. Yeah, that's who you sell it to. Hey, we got to take a timeout. We'll come back. Plenty more ahead on this Cowboys-Jaguars matchup. We'll get some thoughts from Logs on the head coach's thoughts earlier as well. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
If the last couple years have taught us anything, it's to show the ones we love how much we care. That's why Pet Paradise calls you by name from the moment you arrive. Why our pack leaders know each and every friend you like to play with out on the turf. And that you like some snuggles before you fall asleep. The more we see and get to know you, the more you'll see how much you mean to us. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, the Doug Pederson Show rolls along. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars and the Dallas Cowboys coming up this Sunday at TIAA Bank Field in Week 15. The Cowboys at 10-3, the Jaguars at 5-8. Meaningful December football game. Both teams chasing the division leader in their respective division. The 78th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl returns to the bank December 30th. The 21st ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish face the number 19 South Carolina Gamecocks. And for more, visit TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Good ball game there.
Yeah, that's a real good ball game.
Battle of 8 and 4 teams. The Gamecocks really rallied at the end of the season.
When's the real big game though on television? The playoffs, man.
Oh, the next day, the 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two playoff games are New Year's Eve.
All right.
And the championship's, a week and a Monday later. Yeah.
All right. So. Alabama in that mix?
No, they're not. There you go. How about the Jaguars? We talked a lot about the Jags, the Cowboys defense.
I messed you up there, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've been criticizing Alabama.
I've been messed up for a long time. That's not going to faze me. All right, so we talked a lot about the Cowboys defense. Now to this Cowboys offensive attack, and we mentioned it a little earlier, the offensive line. They have some veteran guys in key spots, but they might be moving some guys around. Who knows what it really looks like on game day, but that could be something to watch up front for Dallas.
Yeah, I want to see how they line up. I want to see what they do. Are they going to make some roster moves because Terrence Steele had the ACL against Houston this past weekend? Will Tyron Smith be activated off of IR, which still hasn't happened, although Jerry Jones said he expects it to happen, but sometimes Dr. Jones isn't always right. He sometimes gets a little bit ahead of himself sometimes, but I think that's a big question mark. How do the Cowboys line up with that offensive line? What are they going to do if they have Tyron Smith up at left tackle? What will they do with the Tyler Smith, their rookie, that's been playing left tackle? Will they move him to guard? Could they move him to right tackle to take over for the injured Terrence Steele? Or would they move a Jason Peters over there to right tackle? Or would they play a Josh Ball who played there in Steele's absence last week, but he struggled mightily? So there's a lot of questions to be able to ponder. And I think if you're a Jaguars defensive lineman, a defensive coach, you just prepare for the scheme. And as a player, you study all of the guys on the above list and just get ready because you don't know who's going to play.
Just don't know, but it's the Jaguars defense that got some takeaways last week. Do some of those again.
And Trayvon Walker will probably not play and practice yet, right? According to the injury report.
Correct.
So Josh Allen, you'd like him to continue. Okay, he got a sack. He was able to get some pressure this past game against two inferior tackles in Tennessee. Arden Key, Smoot are going to have to play a bigger role. So I'm looking forward to watching this matchup this week, that Pitt matchup, because when you play a good football team, it always starts up front, and you've got to be able to do a good job to be able to have a chance to win. And this week is no different, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to experience the environment. Can't wait to see how this young team reacts to the star and the moment.
Let's come back in a moment. We've got a social media question for Jeff Lageman when we come back. And I be honest with you, I do not remember what it is. So we're gonna wing it when we come back. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
With sun, sand, and surf, the holidays are a little different around here. And your local Ford dealer is here to help you celebrate with a Holiday Your Way sales event. Now's the time for great deals on Ford trucks or SUVs, arriving just in time for the holidays. Power up your holiday light show in a Ford F-150 truck with available Pro Power onboard. Or gather the whole family in a Ford Explorer SUV with seating for 7. Don't miss the Holiday Your Way sales event, going on now at your local Ford dealer. Not all models, trims, or features may be available or may be subject to change.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
A Dream Finder's home is an amazing way to celebrate the holidays. Unwrap your family's future in a new St. Johns County community like Shearwater or Beacon Lake as 2022 comes to a close and 2023 awaits. What could be better than an expertly built, energy-efficient, move-in ready Dream Finder's home to enjoy everything that makes the holiday season merry and bright? How about an interest rate lock special from Dream Finders, which will secure your new home at a big savings? It's the holiday gift that keeps on giving. Happy holidays to all from Dream Finders Homes. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. It's Week 15. The Jaguars and the Dallas Cowboys coming up Sunday at TIAA Bank Field as the Jags try to walk down the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South. The Cowboys, with a win, would secure a playoff berth. They're still trying to chase down the Eagles in the NFC East, and it's time now to go to the tablet. Yes, the Microsoft Surface for a social media question for Jeff Lageman. Let's see what we've come up with. This is at Amy Hall 904. How can the Jaguars defense keep up the turnovers from last week? Why did those disappear mid-season?
That's a great question. And if you look at the pass rush of the Jaguars defense through the season, they hit a bit of a lull in the mid part of the season. And so that, I think that greatly impacts the ability to get takeaways. Is how is the pass rush doing? Early in the season, they were doing a great job because they were really stout against the run, set themselves up in some great situations from a down and distance standpoint to be able to pressure quarterbacks, and the takeaways come. And then over the last month and a half or so, the pass rush has been a little off. If you think about it, going back to last week, Josh had his last sack, I think it was October 10th prior to last week. Trayvon Walker had his last sack in like October, the end of October. So he went the month of November without a sack. So when you don't have the pressure, then you typically don't get the takeaways as defense. And then once you got against Tennessee, you had an opportunity there at rushing the passer late in the second half. You ended up getting the ardent key because you put them in a situation where they're uncomfortable with snapping the ball Derrick Henry in a wildcat, and he doesn't handle it. And Tannehill with a rush throw. He was expecting a hot route, put them in a passing situation. He throws a ball to Robert Woods, and Woods is not turned around, and Wingard ends up making the interception. So pass rush, I think, is the real key. Pass rush and the ability to put the offense in an uncomfortable situation typically is when you get the takeaways.
There have been times earlier this season where they've had balls in their hands and they haven't been able to bring it in, or
right.
You got to be able to make those plays when they're presented too.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, when you get pressure, when you get great pressure on the quarterback, or when you get the opportunity to be able to pressure the quarterback, then you can add takeaways to that. Trayvon Walker, put the Tennessee Titans in a pass rush situation. They're keeping the tight end in on his sack caused fumble. Yeah. They're keeping the tight end in, and Trayvon beats him so fast that the tackle is literally trying to run to get to him on the outside and literally whiffs. I don't know how he missed him completely. He literally didn't even get a hand on Trayvon because Trayvon was so fast at beating the tight end. Then all of a sudden he gets to the backside of Tannehill, and he does a great job of that strip sack, bringing that arm down, pops that ball out, but it was because they were in a passing situation.
That, I think, changed the tune a little early in the game. Obviously Jags were down 7 at that point, and then the second one really changed the whole game, I think, when Shaq Quarterman knocked it out of the hands of Derrick Henry and then set up the 2-minute drive, put the Jags ahead really for good. They never looked back from that point.
That was the third one because you had the sack caused fumble and then Wingard on the interception, and then the Shaq caused fumble was the third one. And that put Tennessee in the situation that they didn't want to be in. And this week, if you're facing the Dallas Cowboys, if you can dominate an offensive line that's going to be shuffled a little bit, I mean, that's the key. And I said last week that there's 3 guys that got to play really well. And I still believe the same applies for this week, and that's Roy Robertson-Harris, Devon Hamilton, and Fadakasi have to play really well for this defense to have a chance at stopping Dallas, because you've got to neutralize Pollard and Elliott. If you don't do that, you're going to make it extremely difficult on yourself to be able to keep up with this Dallas Cowboys football team.
Let's come back. Our final thoughts on the quarterback and his play from last week and moving ahead for this Jags team, and our final thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timnery, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is number 1 among state schools for the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Jags fans, Shaquille Griffin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you love when we put the QB in his place with a big interception, and now Luray Boyd Peanut Company is making every pick a winning play with the Peanut Pickoff. Every time the Jaguars make a pick, Luray Peanuts is going to donate to youth football initiatives throughout the Southeast, and the Jaguars Foundation will match every dollar. We get one play closer to victory, and our kids get to train for a brighter future. Everyone wins, except for the other team's QB. But hey, that's his problem.
Tired of hearing "fine" to every question you ask your child? Conversations with a child or teen in your life may sometimes feel one-sided, but they help build the foundation for lifelong mental wellness. Getting started can be difficult, but you don't have to do it alone. Wolfson and Children's On Our Sleeves program provides just what you need to spark conversations that have lasting benefits. For free tools and expert advice delivered to your inbox each month, visit wolfsandchildrens.com/onoursleeves.
It's the holiday savings event going on now at Renewal by Andersen. For a limited time, get $300 off windows and $825 off patio doors. Plus no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Offer expires December 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. Call now. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show rolls along. Final few moments on this Thursday, Week 15. The Cowboys and the Jaguars coming up. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Head coach Doug Pederson with us. The opening segment each and every week. A lot of talk around the quarterback this week. And that London game turning the tide for him. And his play has just continued to grow over the last month plus. And it really came to a head last week in Tennessee. 368 yards, a career high, 3 touchdown passes, and a touchdown run where he stiff-armed a guy, and he probably shouldn't have he actually said he should have handed it off. It wasn't even a quarterback run option in that play, but just like muscle memory, it sounded like.
Well, it worked.
Hey, it worked out.
Didn't he get Player of the Week?
AFC Player of the Week. Offensive
Second
Player
time
of the
this
Week.
year, right?
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's well-deserved, and he got also named on PFF's Team of the Week, which they picked somebody from each position, both offensively and defensively, for his performance there. Now, the crazy thing is that was his first win in the division outside of the Indianapolis Colts. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's his third career win in the AFC South. And it's the first time he beat somebody as a quarterback besides the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, and everything seems to be, a stepping stone, because not only was that big for him, but also it ended an 14-game AFC South road losing streak that was ended in Tennessee.
Well, guess what? It's time to snap another streak. It's now 20 straight losses against NFC teams for this Jaguars team. They've got to break that skid.
Yeah, there's been a lot of streaks when you've been the worst football team in the NFL over the last 2 years.
It's what it is, right? I mean, you lose to a lot of teams in a lot of places. So hopefully that tide is turning as well, but the quarterback a big hand in that, certainly. How you feeling about this one, Logs?
I feel pretty good about it. Now, last week I felt really confident. I thought the Jaguars matched up really well against Tennessee for a lot of different reasons. I think that this is a tough matchup, but I think it's a winnable matchup. Going into Kansas City, I was like, boy, I just don't see how they're going to beat Kansas City, because Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones, Kelsey, they're just too good. But against the Cowboys, when you watch the film of them playing the Texans are not a good football team. The Texans had that game won. But the only way the Cowboys were able to win it is they had to have a goal line stand, and then they ended up driving like 98 yards to get the win. So, look, if the Texans can do that to the Cowboys, I mean, why can't the Jaguars do that to the Cowboys? And they're not perfect. Dak Prescott has been playing well, but he's got a few mistakes in him. And if he makes some mistakes, if you steal a possession on special team, when you play good teams, you got to find a way to get a little bit more. Kansas City, right? Surprise onside kick.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was a way to steal a possession.
They didn't cash it in, though.
Didn't cash in on it. But if you steal a possession and cash in on it,
there you go.
Might you have some trickery up your sleeve on special teams?
Can you get a kick return touchdown that's not a holding call?
Not a holding call and a taunting.
Right.
Which, by the way, what were you thinking, Kalen Chase, on about taunting a kicker on a kick return for a touchdown?
He's a kicker, though. I'm kidding.
But can you imagine if because the block was bogus? I mean, the penalty on The hold was terrible.
But that can flip a game as well.
I watched that play 5 or 6 times trying to find the hold. I still haven't found it. But I did see the taunt.
So, the Jaguars and the Cowboys, limited tickets, standing room tickets, actually, only thing left. So it'll be a packed house. Get here early on Sunday. That'll do it for our program tonight. Our thanks to Chris Manhertz, head coach Doug Pederson, Joe Fortunato on the audio, Brent Reber, David Cho on the video, and for Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.